Okay. Decided to give Sketch Retopo a try. Okay, Sketch Retopo, like I said, it is a beta program. It's free. It was done by a number of grad students, I believe, like 3 years ago, and for to get their doctorates or master's degrees or whatever they were going for. And so they created this little program. The university that they're at is well known for being innovative and coming up with new things for graphic arts. And so this was one of the things they came up with a few years ago. I've been hoping and praying that they make this into a commercial product and they start selling it, because I'd pay $300 for this thing. It's awesome. And it's been 3 years and I'm still waiting. And so it has a few bugs. I know it does work on Windows 10. I'm on Windows 7. It has a tendency to crash sometimes, but overall it's awesome. You're supposed to only use it for non-commercial work as well, so you got to be aware of that. But it is awesome, and it's probably it's the best way of retopologizing manually that I've ever found. And so okay, so first thing you do is you import the base mesh. Okay, so we import the desktop video shirt. Okay, and I'm going to rotate it back up. Okay, so here's our shirt, right, that we made for Marvelous Designer. First thing I'm going to do is there's different drawing modes. I'm going to go over them real quick. Q, and you look down in the lower corner, it tells you what it is. And there's two different versions of Sketch Retopo. This is my favorite. There's just two different versions. This is the one I use, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But yeah, but the two are very almost identical, but there are some minor changes between the two. So Q is for basic sketching, and a basic sketch that's considered a curve. It's just like painting something on there, but that's considered a curve. You can smooth the curve by holding down the Shift key and going over it. And you can erase it by holding down, I think it's the C key, and drawing over it. You can add to it by, you see that little like transparent cylinder? You go over to the end. You don't have to be right on top of it like that. Just as long as it's within that cylinder. Hold down Control key and left mouse button, draw another curve, and that continues on the curve. So now it's one curve there. So if you want to add to the curve, you can. If you just hold down the left mouse button and drag, then it creates what's called a corner. That's what that little red dot is. See, if we smooth these out, get a nice sharp. And so if I do another one up here and another one over to here, that's called a patch. And it's made up of these curves. That's called a patch. And if you hit spacebar, that's what it looks like. If we go A on the keyboard, that's Edit Topology. And if you click on a curve, that tells you how many quads are along that curve. And if you hold down the Shift key, you can get the other side. Now if you hit the C key, you can increase the number of quads. Hit the X key and you can decrease it by 2. And it loves even numbers. It doesn't like odd numbers, it loves even numbers. If I were to hit the V key, it goes up by 1. If I hit the Z key, it goes down by 1. But if we had 1 and we hit the V key, see, 7 to 6, doesn't like that. Okay. So you can increase the density or the resolution or the density of the mesh really easy. If I click the first one, if I hold down the Control key and click, it follows the quads along there, perpendicular to the curve. So it followed these and it selected both of them by holding down the Control key. If I hold down Control here and click, now it's selected these. So now I could increase the resolution or decrease the resolution. And this is why I like this version better than the other version. The other version doesn't show you the quad count on the end. It's like, God, I use that all the time. And it doesn't show you. Because like I said, if you accidentally get off by one, it disappears, you know. And it loves, like I said, it loves even numbers. Okay. So that's basic drawing. Then you have Deform Curve, which allows you to deform the curve. And again, you can hold the shift to smooth it down. You can grab a corner with the Deform Curve and move it that way. Let's see. What happens if we hold? Yeah, that's Deform Curve. Like I said, shift smooths the curve. And left mouse button. And let's see. E is laser cutting. And laser cutting allows you to, you can start anywhere and it's just like a laser. Slices right through. And it also sliced right through our mesh to create a new curve. See? Here we go. I thought I was trying to do it here to here. Okay. See, it slices right through. So if you needed to add, you can. Okay. Let's see. That's laser cylinder sketching. We won't really go into that. That's great for sleeves and arms and pant legs. I don't really use it that much. T is for edit corner. This is considered a sharp corner where it's red. If we start in it looks like I'm doing a laser, but if I point it like that, see, it turns to blue, and that becomes a soft corner. And there's a reason for that, but I'm not sure if we'll get to that in this video or not. Okay. A, like I said, is for edit topology. It allows you to do things like, let's increase this number. And okay, so this is called a singularity. It's also called, I forget what it's also called. In some programs it's called a singularity. In other programs, I forget what it's called. A pivot, or not a pivot point. I don't know, I forget what it's called. Anyway, so if we click out here to deselect, we're in edit topology. If you click in here, you see how it turns red? Well, we can move that point around. See? You can move it around by clicking and dragging. And so, so that's another thing that edit topology does. Then we have S for query database. We're not really going to get that into there. It's where you also click in the middle and you run go through a database, and it will show you all the potential solutions for these singularities, and there can be up to thousands of them, and then you can go through and pick which one that you want by doing the X and the C key. But we're not going to get to that in this video. Let's see. D is move. Move is very handy. You can see D acts kind of like a soft select, so you can push things around. You can also smooth by holding down the shift key. So often I'll be in this mode and I'll go, okay, I want to move that a little bit more like that to get better edge flow. And then you hold down the shift key to smooth it. And you can make it bigger or smaller, but with holding down the right mouse button gives you a bigger or smaller brush. So if you needed to move that vertex just a little bit, you could do that. And then if you wanted to smooth it a little bit, that area, you just make your brush bigger, hold down the shift key, and smooth it out a little bit. Okay. Let's see. And edge loop is kind of like laser, but it will follow the edge loop. So if you needed to add some more definition in a particular area so that you can just do that. You only add in edge loops at the very, very last thing that you do. Because when you add in edge loops, you go from an even number to an odd number. And like I said, this program doesn't particularly like that. Let's see. What it was also, I think it was move. Yeah, move also. If you hold down the control key, it will redistribute it. It'll try to redistribute these things more evenly. So you hold down the control key, left mouse button, and you click, and it redistributes it. That more often than not, lots of times will cause the program to crash. But it just, I've seen it. It used to happen to me a lot. I don't know why it doesn't happen as often. And let's see, and I think edge loop is the last one. So those are the basic. Those are the modes: basic sketching, deform curve, laser sketching. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go over the Q, basic sketching. W, deform curve. E is laser sketching. R is cylinder sketching. T is edit corner. A is edit topology. S is query database. D is move, and F is edge loop. Okay, so those are all the hotkeys. Those are all the ones you need. They're all on your left-hand side, and those are your 4 fingers. So there's 9 total, 5 at the top, and with the D, W, E, R, T, and 4 with A, S, D, and F. Okay, and I'll put a link to one of the students, grad students, did a series of very short, very well done how to use the program. There's like 10 short videos. They're like 5 minutes long each. And so, yeah, I'll give a link to that so that you know where to get it. Okay, and the camera controls are very much like my Alt, left mouse button, middle mouse button, Alt, and middle mouse button. Although I think it's left and right, zooms in and out, but with this program it's up and down, right mouse button, Alt. And then if you hold down the Shift key as you're rotating and let go, it will snap to a particular camera. Okay, so let's clear this out, and let's go to basic sketching mode. Hold down the B key. This is another thing. If we hold down the B key and left mouse click while the sphere is going, it's still inside the mesh, but the sphere is over the edge, it creates a curve that goes all the way around, follows that opening. So we'll do it here. Oh yeah, gotta hold down the B key, left mouse button, click, go here, B, left mouse button, click, B, left mouse button, click. Okay. Okay, and now I like going into orthographic mode to the front, and then going to laser, and just like we did before, whoops, well, go to the laser mode and draw it straight down. You don't have to go all the way down, but it's just more accurate if you do. Okay. And then, of course, we can come to the side, start near underneath the armpit, chunk, same here, start about there, about to the middle, and same way here. And think of it's basically what we did before. Go to the top. Think of where seams would go in clothing. And there we go. And then to get it upright, you kind of do like you're pretending like you're reeling in a fishing rod, the fishing line. Okay. So there's our mesh so far. Okay. Now I usually like doing a laser underneath the breast, and then just underneath the armpit. Got to make sure we're below the neckline. And so between the neckline and the top of the breast, just underneath the armpit, and let go. So for a short sleeve shirt, this is pretty good. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Now, once you start, it's always a very good idea to save at the very beginning after you import your mesh, actually. Save to an XML. I'm just going to do it to the desktop and put Retopo shirt for video. And make sure you leave the XML. Okay, so now that we've got it saved, so in case something happens, we won't lose everything. Let's see. Okay, it will auto-save from now on out every 30 seconds. You can change this if you want. So the most you'll lose is 30 seconds worth of work. So, okay. So I think we need to go to the Move tool, and there we go. See? Fixed. See? It was messed up. See how that's messed up there? If we go to the Move tool, which is D on the keyboard, go into the middle of the patch, hold down the Control key and left mouse click, it redistributes it, and now we have that. Okay, so we're getting closer. Okay, now I'm going to turn off orthographic here in a minute, because see, when it's in orthographic mode, it's really doesn't show you those numbers, those counts of how many quads are along there. It's the one bad thing about orthographic mode. So turn that back on, off, I mean, and so now we have a quad count of 10. What I like to do is go through it and make sure that everything has the same numbers. See, that's good. 10, 10. If I hold down the Control key, so it's 10, 10, 18, 12, and 12, and 12. Okay, if I hold down the Control key, click there, is it the same? No, they're slightly different. Okay, so this on the back side looks like we got to change these. Let's change these to 12. Instead of 12, make them 10, just like the other side. So 12, 12, 12, and make them 10. Because I like to try to keep things symmetrical. Okay, and got to do the same thing here. Move. Okay, so let's see, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, that's good. And these look like they're the same. 12, 12, oh, 10, 10. Okay, so let's change these to 10. This is way overkill. 18 and 18 is way overkill, so let's bring the number down to something like 6. Should be enough for deformation. Okay. Let's see, that 6 is a bit overkill. Let's bring that down to 4. Okay, we're going to need more resolution in the breast area. Oh, and the underneath here, about 4 would be okay. 2 would be fine, but let's do 4. 4. Okay, go back into draw mode, or move mode, I'm sorry, and hold down the Control key and left mouse click to redistribute those. And it still didn't do that great of a job. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. And what's that? Well, let's try a little bit more. Let's try 12. And then go into move mode. better. Okay. Okay, so the breast area, we want to increase that to at least 14. Probably want to increase that to 12. So it's not such a big difference. 10 is okay. So this is where, remember, we can just move these around. Okay, trying to make it even on both sides. Now we have more topology around there. That's not too bad. Although if we were going to deform the curve, let's bring these down a little bit. We'll bring this up a little bit. Every time we do that, it's going to redistribute it because, yeah, it's following more the shape of the breast there. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good. Maybe we want to edit topology mode. And this is one of the weird things about it is sometimes it does the opposite. You move left or up and down, or up and it moves down, and down becomes up, and right becomes left, and left becomes right sometimes. Okay, so let's see. That was about there. I think we need to, oops, move this up one. Okay, just to try to keep it distributed better. Okay, doesn't look too bad. Okay, now we could either draw another curve here to try to get the things to follow along there, which we could. We could go to basic sketching and like draw from there to there to try to get it to follow the topology more. That's one possibility. You know, then you would go into the move mode and you could smooth this area out a little more like that. You know, that's one way of doing it. Oh, wait a minute. Redo. Okay. Another way would be we could actually use the move tool and push some stuff around, which might be the way I'm going to go. Okay, just trying to look around. Okay, like, let's do 8, 6. That was a little bit overkill. Let's increase this to 10. Might have to increase this to 14. It's freaking out a little bit here. I guess it's this mesh that's folding over onto itself. We'll have to fix that in post. We're only missing a couple of faces here. That'd be easy to fix. Okay, so we were doing 14, and I try to keep both sides the same. So I'll do 14. Okay. Oh, this is the other way of, instead of being able to drag those points around, you can click these different arrows. See, the yellow ones are highlighted, and I can increase or decrease the space between those arrows, which moves the points around. Default usually works pretty good. Okay. So once you get your topology looking pretty good, then I would normally come in here with the Move tool, and I would start to, doing the soft select, and then smoothing it. Get a little bit better edge flow. And I'd want to get this set up first. Like we don't need it. Like that. So what I'm trying to do is, you see these, just kind of keep it in the same pattern. Trying to keep it symmetrical. This does have a symmetry setting where you could do just one side, but most of the mesh that I make clothes, they're not perfectly symmetrical. Okay. And so now I can go in the Move tool, sort of smooth this out a little bit. Push this up a little bit. I'm trying to concentrate the vertices where I want them to be. That's better. You don't want any big squares like this, because when the breasts get bigger, they're going to stretch. So, okay, so I'm kind of pushing this up a little bit, and pulling this down a little bit, and then smoothing. Okay, now to try to get a little bit better edge flow along here, what I'm doing is I'm pushing up and I'm pulling down to get this edge flow to try to follow the fold better. Just to get a little bit better edge flow. Not too much though. So I'm saying it's a little tricky. Stop it. And you see I sort of pulled it off of the mesh, just pull it back up. Smooth a little bit. Smooth it. Pull it down. Okay, that gets a little bit better edge flow. Do the same over here. So we're going to want to drag this down. Pull that up a little bit. Push that up a little bit. You always want to try to over-exaggerating so that when I smooth it, it looks a lot better. See, we can pull this down a little bit. Anytime you see a little asterisk up there, that means it hasn't been saved. So if you hit Control S, it saves it. But it will automatically save every 30 seconds. Okay, then we can kind of, let's bring this down. Just to make it more even, smooth it, move it. Bring that down, smooth it a little bit more. Okay. Oh, we got to do that. Okay, as long as it looks okay here. Doesn't really, these are crisscrossing because they fell off the edge, and sometimes it's really hard to get them back up. I might be able to, can I get, there we go. Got it back up. Okay, there we go. It's because it's this fold, I can't quite see, it wants to fall off. Okay, so this little bit right here we can fix. There's two faces that are missing right there. That's minor. And now I'm not making the sphere, the transparent sphere, smaller. I'm just zooming in. It's actually staying the same size. So if you want to move an individual little one, you can. Or you can make this smaller. Right mouse, holding the right mouse button down and moving it. Okay. Let's see. I think that looks halfway decent. I'm just pulling up a little bit, back on the mesh. And so, like I said, we're just trying to get the edge flow to follow the edge a little better. By edge flow, what I mean is, when you have a fold here, see how like this is the ridge, the top of the hill? That this is like a long, narrow hill? You know, if you, and so edge flow, you really want the edge flow to either be going perpendicular with the edges to the, like at a 90-degree angle to the hill, or riding along the edge, the top ridge of the hill, this way. So by pulling this down and pushing that up, see, we're getting this to flow more along the top of the edge. And then if we pushed this way a little bit, I want to smooth it so that this line is going more or less over the top of it. Now it's not perfect, but it's a lot better. Now if you really, really wanted to get into this, like I said, you could put in more edges, you know, curves, and get an even better edge flow. But like I said, there just comes a point where it's like, okay, this is good enough. So to get something smoother, that's better edge flow. Yeah, let's see, way over here. See, I could have added more more quads all the way around here. See, if I go like that, 6 all the way around, I could have made that 8, and that would give me a little bit higher, more edges to work with. And shift bar gives us the thing. 6 on the keyboard makes it rotate, but because this was Z up, not Y up, and that's what we got. So okay, so that's not half bad, you know. It could be better. This edge flow right here I'm not really super thrilled with, but it could be a lot worse. We got a nice edge coming underneath the armpit. Like I said, think about where the seams would be in real clothes, you know, is where you want your seams to be, or edges, you know, think of edge flow that way. As far as the curves are concerned, you know. So okay, so once you're happy, then what you do is you go export Retopo mesh, and we'll say Retopo video shirt. Whoops. And make sure that it has .obj at the end. If you don't put .obj, it won't export. Okay, so we export up. Okay, and then meet you in Maya. Okay, so here we are back in Maya. Let's import the video shirt. So here's the video shirt imported. And we just need to rotate it. Oh, that's because the original shirt was 90 degrees. Okay. Yeah, let's freeze transformation. Freeze transformation. Okay. So you'll notice that the thicker lines here, those are where those curves were. And when you import it, that means these have not been welded or merged together. You know, it's a one object, but if you were to separate it, it would be separate objects. You know, so if we went to edit mesh, separate, now that's a separate object. So let's undo that. Now we're back to a single object again. So all you have to do after you've imported it, well, one, you'll notice that it's all hard edges. It's very faceted. So what you want to do is you merge, edit mesh, whoops, sorry, messed up there. Edit mesh, merge, right? Now it's merged. Now you don't see those really thick edges, but it's still hard. So we go normals, soften edge. See, now it's soft. And now it's, see, this is only 2064 versus 2445. But it took me over a half hour to retopologize, and I am not thrilled with this area here. It could be a lot better. So to fix that, I would probably add more edge loops. Like I said, more edge loops on there. Or yeah, more edge loops. So I could increase the quads here to 8 or 10, and then I'd have more to push around and get an even smoother edge flow. Let's see. The breast area is okay. Could use more edge loops through here. So really, in the end, I'd probably end up with about the same as here. But the nice thing is that this gives you, this program, Sketch Retopo, gives you perfect quads. Perfect quads. There's not a single triangle in there. It's all perfect quads. Let's try turn off upright. Upright also. There we go. Upright tries to keep it upright when you rotate it. But you get the point. You know, you can manually retopologize it. Whoops. What's going on here? There we go. See that even though that could be turned into a quad, you can see it's not. This is actually better. You know. So manual topology, once you know how to do it and you spend a little time, it's better. Let me say let's increase it to 10. And we could probably then decrease this to 8 or 6 because it doesn't have to be that thick. And then we do the move tool again. And we go, okay, we want to move. Let's make it bigger. So you see what I mean? You add more. Down. Pull that back up. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. And then smooth it just a little bit. So I'm moving it, and we could even push this up a little bit. And then with the shift and left mouse click, then I'm smoothing it a little bit. So move it up. Like I say, you kind of over exaggerate it. Farther than you want it to go. And then you smooth it. Make it smaller. Now I should have moved these singularities more where I wanted them to be, but they looked okay. Could have lined them up, but they're not too bad. Let's see, so I bring this down. Down, 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 down. Smooth it. Smooth it. Smooth it. Smooth it. Smooth. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay. And we're going to need more there, so let's go to, whoops, 16, 18, 20, 12, 18, 18, 12. Bring that down a little bit. Trying to more evenly move these around, and I think I want to go down to probably 10. Okay, and then we'll put that about there. Let's see how many. Okay, so that was 1, and it was 7, 3, 4, 6, 7. Okay, so I had it right. Okay. And this needs to be up 1, and that looks okay. Okay. Oops. We gotta. Boy, didn't like that. Darn it. Okay, what about smoothing it? Okay. Smooth that. Okay, we're back to where we were before. Okay. And okay, and let's put that up there. Smooth. Yeah, what I just realized, I probably want, well, we'll do an edge loop. We'll do 2 edge loops afterwards. I mean, we've got more than enough resolution vertically. But horizontally, see, these are pretty, that's a pretty big gap. So, this is where we could Okay, once you get everything pushed around, got a lot nicer edge flow here, got more resolution. There and there. And now this is where we would want to come in here with the edge loops and go, okay, we want an edge loop there. We want an edge loop here. And probably an edge loop there. Okay. One there, there, and there. Okay, that's much better. Maybe one there, and one there. Okay, and export Retopo mesh. We'll do shirt 2. Okay, and import. Okay. And let's see. Okay. Freeze transformation. Where is it? Oh, there. Freeze transformation. And merge. And normals. Soften edge. If for whatever reason when you've softened the edge, if it still looks kind of funny, just go normals, unlock normals, and then try, and that should probably fix it. And sometimes I do soften edge again. Okay, yeah, this has much better edge flow. But that extra edge flow came in with cost, $3,323, which is more than that. You could probably do a few things to get it down. I could have lowered the number of vertices going along here and along here. Or not vertices, quads. I could have maybe not had so many edges along here. I went a little overboard. You know, maybe not 20, maybe 18 or 16 would have been fine. Okay, would have been fine. But overall, not bad. So I could have cut it down a little bit more. But like you said, you saw it took me at least a half hour. At least a half hour. Probably would spend an hour, and I could get total and get it to look as nice as this, and maybe had a little bit better edge flow, because this one over here does have edges, an edge that goes straight up and down. So I could get it to look as nice as, is it that one? No, as nice as that one, and have the quad count be a little bit less. It's all a matter of how much effort do you want to put into it. If you make your own UVs, this would be just fine. If so, okay. So that's Sketch Retopo. you know, that's Sketch Retopo, and you end up with perfect quads. But it's a lot more work. So if you have the money, get quad remesher. If you have the money, definitely get quad remesher. And if you don't want to spend as much time, there is quite a learning curve. Like I said, there's quite a learning curve here. It doesn't take you that long to learn, but it's going to take you a week or two of practice. While shirts, you know, long sleeve shirts, it's the same basic pattern, except for you want to do another slice here, and then connect the two, and then the arms have to be cylinders, like having 4 curves that define the cylinder. You know, just as we did a curve straight up and down here, and in the back, and we had a curve straight up and down here on each side. That sort of defines a cylinder. A cylinder doesn't like 2, or you might be able to get away with 3, but you break it into 4. So sleeves and pant legs. Pants, yeah, 3 minimum. And pants, the curve pattern is a little different than what you would see on clothing. You know, it kind of follows that pattern of you would put your main curves where your seams would be, but in the crotch area it gets really weird. Maybe I'll make a video how to do that, in Sketch Retopo. I'd probably, yeah, I would cut down the number on here to like 16 or 18, and I would probably increase the number up here, but instead of putting in edge loops, just increase the number so they're a little bit more evenly spaced. Although if this is where you really need the vast majority of the density, the retopology, or not retopology, of your topology, not retopology, of your topology, you need it to be denser more in here than in between the breasts, because when they expand, it's the outside of the breasts that really see it the most. But this would allow, I mean, if I went back in here and changed these numbers, whoops, I didn't want that, I wanted the edge. Let me have the edge. There we go. 11. If I increased it by you know, C and X, it would have been evenly spaced along here. Versus that, you can see it's kind of real close together there instead of evenly spaced. But that's not that big of a deal. So anyway, okay, so now this is an hour-long video. It's an hour-long video. But that gives you the basics of Sketch Retopo. And you can kind of get a feel for it. You know, I love the move brush, because you can push and get really nice edge flow. You know, really pretty looking edge flow. You know, and it's just, you know, it just overall makes for a better mesh. It's just, it can be kind of relaxing, you know. And so anyway, so yeah, so that's Sketch Retopo. It's like I said, it's a free tool you can get. Yeah, I wish they would make a product out of this and sell it. There is something similar. I know they've tried it. One of the people, I think, who was in the program got it into Blender, kind of. Works pretty much the same in Blender, kind of. But I haven't really seen it as polished as this is in Blender yet. So, But yeah, so that's how you can retopologize. And so, awesome. Alrighty, well, it's been an hour. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.